Welcome back to A's Pregame Live. Oakland getting ready to take on the Orioles for the series finale in Baltimore. As we have a quick peek at the AL West standings so far, the A's are 14-7 through their first 21 games of the season, 8-6 at the Coliseum, 6-1 is their record away on the road. And right now, they're only sitting on a +5 run differential, which may not seem impressive, but when you consider where they started this year, 0-6, getting trounced by the Astros and Dodgers, they've definitely made up some ground. Brody Brazil and Shooty Babbitt wanted to do a quick run through the division. Surprises and things that have not surprised you. We're calling this expectations versus reality. So expectations for the A's, where have they met the bar that you knew they could starting out?
I am not surprised whatsoever of the success that this starting rotation has had. We knew that the depth would mean a lot, but didn't know that the competition would be as stiff as it is. Mike Fiers, we're looking for him to get back in the rotation. We don't know how they're going to find a way, but you never have too much good starting pitching.
All right, so what has been the surprise then?
Man, to start out 0-6, I mean, really? I mean, a young club with so many good players, guys that have had a lot of good stats in the past, just couldn't get it going, but I definitely didn't anticipate that.
And I think we look back now on 0-6 differently than when it was happening. Back then, it was frustration. It was a bit of actual fear. Now you look back on it and say, that might have galvanized this group, crazy as that sounds.
I totally agree. I mean, you have to go through something to get somewhere. And how badly could that road be to get them to where they got today? I mean, it's smooth sailing right now compared to what they came through.
Yeah, it was a historic start for the A's, and not in a famous way, in an infamous way. They hadn't had an 0-6 start since the early 1900s. All right, so let's move on to the LA Angels of Anaheim. In terms of expectations, what's something that you knew was going to play out for them that has?
I pretty much had a feeling that all the cachet that they were putting on Joe Adele, their top prospect in their organization, I'm talking about a physical specimen, a guy that's got the body, has got 5 tools. I mean, he's going to be an impact player, but he still hasn't been able to conquer the #1 tool, and that's that bat tool. Because if you don't hit, pretty much you don't play. So not surprised whatsoever.
All right, so these guys, 3 wins in their last 10 games, a .500 record, right now 4th in the division. What has surprised you about this group?
My hands-down choice to be the MVP for the American League is the Iron Man, Mike Trout. One thing that I didn't think is that he would miss a little time from being injured already, and this has kind of gone over to a few days. So I didn't expect that because this guy runs out there and plays every day, all day, no problem.
If the Angels don't have Trout, how different are they? Just that one player.
Well, if we don't have Matt Chapman or if we don't have
we didn't
Matt
last year
Olson,
for a while.
that's how they impact the game. But when you're talking about the MVP, I mean, the best player in the game, I mean, your team changed drastically because everybody has to elevate their game to a totally higher level than they're accustomed to.
Let's move on to the Pacific Northwest and have a look at the Seattle Mariners. Quite honestly, I think an early surprise, second right now in the division, 13 wins, 7 wins in their last 10 games. What's something that you kind of knew about these guys?
Once again, when you see a guy have the success and you celebrate him the way that you have, you look so forward to the next season. Kyle Lewis broke on the scene with a gangster lane, if you will. I mean, this guy came out playing center field, making plays like the great Ken Griffey Jr. He hit at a pace that he didn't think so. And then for him just to bruise his knee in spring training and not debut until a couple of days ago, truly didn't expect that.
I call him Ken Griffey Jr. How about the surprise for you? Then what's been the surprise in Seattle?
I didn't expect this team to be as competitive as they've been. I mean, you've got a young group here. I like seeing this team play, even though I can't stand the team. But the representation of African-American players there is unbelievable. You got some good young talent there. But I mean, I'm really surprised that they have played to the level that they have.
It's crazy. Their last playoff appearance was in the early 2000s. This franchise, for whatever reason, over all the years, they just can't find that next level. It's been kind of amazing.
Tough division, so brother.
That's also true. All right, let's move on to the Houston Astros. 10-10. They're probably happy to be at 500, 3rd in the division. They've only won 4 out of their last 10. They had a huge COVID outbreak with a lot of their star players. Shooty, let's begin to something you knew about them, the expectation. What's the non-surprise about these guys?
Well, I didn't think that they would have to be battling COVID in the way that they have, opposed to all the things that they were going to have to face with all the people getting on them about the cheating. You know what I'm saying? Because 60 games wasn't a big enough punishment. They need wholesale bad treatment from everybody in the game, because the Houston Astros, who were once the Lastros, have taken the American League West by storm, and nobody's taking kindly to that.
I forgot about that nickname. They're going to go through this, I think, the entire season. And I don't necessarily wish that on them. Look, they get what they deserve, so long as fans don't cross the line. I think what happened there in Anaheim, trash cans on the field, that was definitely crossing the line. But I mean, this, for better or worse, is part of their punishment.
Well, you don't have to wish them any bad luck. My mom used to tell us, you know, everybody shell snooky for their own nookie. I mean, and that's just the way that goes. But if you do it, you've got to pay the price, and they're going to pay for it.
Last but not least, well, maybe least sometimes, are the Texas Rangers. Give me the non-surprise of their season so far as they sit in 5th place. What's something you knew about them that's playing out here?
That they were going to be a bad team.
Okay.
I knew that they were going to be the bottom of the division. I mean, they made a wholesale change, getting rid of Elvis Andrus, stanky old Dewar, Adrian Beltre is gone. Pretty much, they cleaned house here. So I'm not surprising that they're at the bottom of the division right now.
All right, so then what is the surprise about these guys? This one might be hard.
There really aren't many surprises here. I mean, they are who we thought they were.
Yeah, right.
You know, so they compete, though. This is a club that's close to 500. They're playing a lot better than we thought that they would. And pretty much it's turning into the land of opportunity in Texas right now, because they've made changes. They pretty much, I won't say that they blew it up, but they cleaned it up.
Crazy as this sounds, a team like the Rangers might help decide the division. They play everybody else, all these other 4 teams, 19 times. So if you're the A's, you got to do well against these guys. If that's the way it plays out on paper, you got to execute that on the field, right?